Hey there, welcome back. Today, we're covering the targeted individual handbook, manual, whatever, and we're going to continue where we left off. So, we left off last time at where is it? Gangstalking, sabotage, and vandalism. So, this is what's next. This happens at home and in the workplace. Electronic equipment may constantly be failing. This may be accomplished with the e-bomb or a similar device. Projects you've worked on the previous day may become broken. Many times, this vandalism is usually just below what you report to the police. Where the target owns substantial land, noxious activities can be arranged and built for next to the property. In one case, a dump, an auto racetrack, and a prison were built adjacent to a target who owned a large farm and an area of natural beauty. While this is rare, it does illustrate commitment to delivering punishment to those deserving of it. While this is not necessarily property damage, it is a destruction of the right to the quiet enjoyment of the premises and to the market value of the property, thus harming the targeted individual indirectly, as with most of the gang stalking protocols. So, we're going to start by sabotage. Sabotage, computer not working, all of that. The only people that would go like something for that would be if your project, if you worked in TI and in IT, I'm sorry, if you worked in information technology and you became an enemy of Scientology. That's it. So this is the thing. Technology will fail. Your phone will sometimes not work. Sometimes your system will not record whatever, or your system will just lose a project. It happened to me at work where there was a glitch in the POS system in the auto parts catalog. Shit like that happens, and it's normal. And none of those, a lot of times the order wasn't there even though I set it up. And a lot of times the computers just quit. And for a little bit, when you're in the prime of gang stalking, you have been conditioned to attribute any type of negative experience to the gang stalkers. So, for example, in the beginning, gang stalkers are gonna do three things. They're gonna move your stuff, steal other things, and move, steal, and I think that's it. I might miss another thing. Well, this is the thing. It might happen in the beginning. So, for example, when I was getting gang stalked, and pretend that they're stealing something, such as hovering their hand above a credit card at the hotel. I'm telling you because they did this to me, while keeping the sinister, narcissistic / gang stalker grin, to tell you that they have the intention of stealing something, but not actually doing it, only to make you have to make you build suspicion. So when gangstalkers move your things. Oh yeah, also, when you're getting gangstalked, something happens to your mind where you forget where you place things. And since you already have the built-in narrative that gangstalkers are messing with your stuff, when you have a brain fart and you forget where you left something, you're gonna believe, one, they stole it, right? And if they happen to have anything with it, they're gonna just move it around, and you're gonna spend time looking for it, and you will probably find it. But your mind already went through a lot of different scenarios. So you were like, oh, freaking gangstalkers, they stole my whatever. But this is the conditioning. This is the conditioning that you're gonna go through. So it is gonna happen for a little bit, possibly only in the beginning of gangstalking. But then they're gonna stop doing that, because the perception of them messing with your stuff is cemented. So when gangstalking continues, and your mind, your memory starts to have holes in it, your memories, and you forget things, the first thing that you're gonna do is to blame it on the gangstalkers. So your first thing that you're gonna say is that, damn, they stole it, you know. But let me tell you something. Most of the time, it has gonna have nothing to do with them, except in the beginning, except when they're doing the sketchy things. So first of all, when I was using a lot of drugs and I was having a lot of sex, you know, I was hanging out with drug addicts. I was inviting them to my hotel room. You know what I mean? So of course there's gonna be thieves. And, you know, especially if they know that I'm getting gangstalked, you know, they're gonna be like, oh, this guy is getting so confused, so might as well just steal from him. You know what I mean? So they stole some things from me, but the stealing only happened when I was inviting strangers into my hotel room. I stopped doing that, and whenever I did engage in that type of behavior, I locked my things, and my things stopped disappearing. So I want to attribute my losing stuff, my stuff getting stolen, to not to gangstalkers, but to thieves. But whenever I did lose a pair of prescription glasses, and you know, they were brand new, and I lost them. So I do attribute that one to a gangstalker stealing it. And also my little bag of like of grooming things, like tweezers for my eyebrows and things like that. So that I will attribute to gangstalkers. But just know that there was only for like a little bit. So then they do this thing where I remember this incident. I don't know this guy's name, but he was a gym goer and he wore glasses, black hair, Mexican. That I left my bag hanging on one of the workout machines, and everyone was gangstalking me, but I wasn't reacting. So when I walked out, I saw him just shake my bag, as if for me to believe that someone had gone through my stuff. I saw him shake my bag, and I saw him walk away from it. I saw him with my eyes. So they do this thing where they pretend to look into your stuff, and so to build suspicion. Now, whenever you actually lose something, or something gets stolen, or your car gets vandalized, like my car got vandalized, and in a bag, a leather Zara backpack with a Mac laptop and an iPad Pro got stolen from my car. my first reaction was to blame it on the gangstalkers. Same thing when my car got stolen. But I'm gonna tell you something that I saw happen. When my car got stolen at work, I didn't realize that I was thinking out loud. And I said to myself loudly. So Juan was by there. And I said to myself, the theft of my car had nothing to do with the gangstalkers. Stop believing that it had to do with gangstalkers. You put it on Imperial Avenue where there's a bunch of people using drugs. They stole your car. That was gonna happen. So my car was insured. I didn't really care because it was insured, and I was either gonna get a payout or I was gonna get a payout and it was gonna be paid off. And I would just buy a new car. So I saw Juan express disappointment. He expressed disappointment the moment that I said the theft of my car had nothing to do with gangstalking. It is just something that happened. It wasn't my intention, but if he expressed disappointment was because I was not following the narrative anymore. By then I was almost out. I was almost out of the whole gangstalking illusion. I saw him with my very own two eyes be disappointed when I said to myself out loud that the theft of my car had nothing to do with gangstalking. That tells me that it had nothing to do with gangstalking, and he was disappointed that I didn't follow that narrative anymore. So, life is gonna F you in the A when you're getting gangstalked. And any tragedy that happens to you, it's gonna be indiscernible from anything that happened to you because of gangstalking. But the narrative has been built. They have done things to make you have suspicion of gangstalkers being after you. And they're behaving in ways that will make you have suspicion. So, also, one time when I was at the gym at Choose Fitness, I dropped my keys. And I thought to myself, they stole it. I looked for them, and I went and looked for them at the front desk, and someone turned them in. They were never stolen by gangstalkers. I believed they were stolen by gangstalkers because I had the narrative built in before. That's what gangstalking does. They build a narrative for you to believe that any tragedy that happens to you, to your belongings, any malfunction of technology, any project that you lose, anything that you misplace, or they misplace, they want you to believe that it was gangstalkers. That's their goal of their behavior. They want you to believe that it was them, they're doing this to you. But in reality, it is simply an event of life. As long as you believe that gangstalkers are actively doing those things to you, you've drank the gangstalker juice. So your job is to get rid of that perception and realize that there's a difference in between gangstalkers pretending to steal your stuff and the stuff that actually happens to you. It is in the rules. Gangstalkers will never steal anything from you. If something gets stolen from you, it wasn't a gangstalker because that's against the rules. They can pretend like they're stealing something. And if you catch them, they're going to do the narcissistic grin to further up that, to further cement that perception. So in this case, in the handbook, do you really think that someone built a racetrack and a prison and a dump next to someone's property just to mess with them? That is so absurd. That makes no sense. All right, so this handbook, I'm sorry, no. Okay, this person, plus who? They don't tell you who. I want more information. And there's none. It just gives you one target. One time did this. You know, there's no backup. Anyways, so let's keep going. While this is not necessarily property damage, it is, oh yeah, we already read that. So now, number 2, person. The assault against the person is, of course, the ultimate purpose of the hidden hand. The hidden hand meaning an undercover gangstalking operation. The hidden hand. The cable targets the person. A, economically. 2, legally. C, socially. D, physically. And 3, most importantly, psycho-spiritually. All of which specific forms of assault are interpenetrating, giving that the person is a multidimensional being whose sphere of influence participates in these spheres. In these spheres, the following amplifies upon the person, the TI, is affected in these ways. Blacklisting. Gangstalking groups will interfere with every personal business relationship you have. Since they are a state-sanctioned, they can easily keep you unemployed. Job opportunities will be trashed since they get paid to make sure that you don't. Most targeted people are unemployed. So this is a lie. They will only give you the impression they're interfering for the job. They will do the gangstalking sign, they will do the grin, they will play the game, but they cannot not give you a job because of it. If you're qualified and you have proof that you're qualified and you excelled in the interview, they're gonna give you the job even if they're gangstalkers, if you're the best candidate. But keep in consideration, if you are getting gangstalked, it is incredibly likely that you are not prepared, especially if you still believe that you're being followed, which you're not. It's only a trick. You will give off a weird energy, and you will have suspicion of everyone being part of gangstalker. And they will do that, the gangstalking sign, this one, to tell you that they're gangstalkers even if they're interviewing you. But if you are qualified for the job, they will give you the job. When I was getting gangstalked, I went to 2 interviews with Delta Airlines, and I made it. I almost made it once, and the first time I didn't. But they flew me to the Delta headquarters in Atlanta. And I knew why I didn't make the cut. And it was because I was getting gangstalked 24/7. And I didn't have the cheerfulness that I typically have. I didn't have my positive attitude. I wasn't in the state of mind that I usually have because of gangstalking. So the way that gangstalking limits your opportunity It's not by them directly interfering. Only if you're against freaking, if you have an enemy right up there, or if you're against Scientology, only that stuff happens. But the thing is that with Scientology or with someone else, you are gonna know who it is, and you're gonna know why. Because they make sure that you know that they are doing that to you on purpose. But gangstalkers are not allowed to interfere with that. They are allowed to make you think that they are. But they're not. That's a lie. Your performance will be affected by gang stalking, and which will lead to your demise inevitably at the job, because you're not going to perform because you're getting gang stalked, especially if they are gang stalking you at work. I was getting gang stalked at work, and my drug use wasn't helping. So I stopped using drugs, and now I am in the top 3 in sales, and I am performing really good at my work. In fact, I'm making the sales, I'm on time, I am a stellar employee. And you know why? Because I saw gang stalking as what it really is. As an illusion, as a trick, as a messing around with your perceptions. Now, let's see. Bank accounts may be shut down or sabotaged through white-collar crime. Online transactions may be obstructed from other financial mediums, or major or minor sellers attempting to sell or to buy on the internet will also be obstructed through sharp practices or preventing from occurring by perps. No. They will make you think, and that they do, and if you believe that, you are going to have auditory hallucinations of voices that confirm your beliefs. If from the beginning you watch this video and you already know, you're taking in the information that I'm giving you, you are never going to have the perception that you're meant to have when you're getting gang stalked. You're not going to believe this, because if you absorb the information that I'm giving you, gang stalking will have no effect, because you're going to keep your feet grounded on reality, which is the purpose of this video, to tell you the truth behind the illusion. This book is not a handbook. This book is made to further perpetuate the gang stalking narrative, or it is made by people who are completely convinced that gang stalkers have all this power, but they don't. It's a trick. It's a freaking trick. Now, let's see what else. Financial surveillance. Should one attempt to sell real estate, he will lose on the value as with other sales, as the cable has a monopoly on the real estate industry profession. Also, any other commodity of negotiable value is subject to loss of its value if sold for the same reason. Bullion, collectibles, etc. I don't believe this. This is bullshit. Financial surveillance. It looks like every penny a targeted individual has is counted, and only a certain amount is allowed for the targeted individual to gain, or evil schemes made to bring bankruptcy or poverty to the target. Poverty to the target will only be produced by the target's inability to produce enough income. Most targets are drug addicts, or have been involved in drugs, or are alcoholics. I'm telling you now that gang stalking has had absolutely zero effect. on my finances. I had an effect on my finances because I was not performing at work and because I was using drugs. That's it. But not because gangstalkers. Okay, so that got boring, and now we're moving to social sabotage. So there's truth in this. So watch. Some tactics used to keep you blacklisted, including interfering with communications. They have never interfered with my communications. Slander. Also, there are lists and software packages used to check these lists for suspected terrorists. Threats to national security. Apparently, this is a flourishing business, and some organizations are required by law to use it. Since they have federal connections, they do have the ability to frame a targeted person for crimes out in public, as well as using information. Any weakness a person has can be used in one of these setups. A person might not be aware of some of these setups, but they may be when mobbing you out in public. Group members will also entice the target to assault them, but this is never done without having witnesses present. The criminal conviction of the target, following the testimony of numerous concerned citizens, can be followed by a civil lawsuit. Pedophilia is one common lie used to bring neighbors, coworkers, community members, and in some cases even family members into the 24/7 harassment. So watch my video about how they tried to frame me on being a pedophile. So this is how they try to make you commit a crime. They will be interrupting you every move. They will be producing you as much anxiety by interfering everything that you do. So I'm telling you this. So when I was practicing Olympic lifting, I was doing very technical movements, and these technical movements require a lot of precision, especially if you're doing more weight, particularly in like the snatches and the moves that require a lot of precision. They would do this in the mirror when I was doing these moves, and they were interrupting me endlessly. And I had it up to here. There was times where I felt like I was gonna explode. And then what they do is, I remember one day I went to the gym and I was up to here. I really was up to here. I was on my last nerve, and then everywhere I went, the gangstalkers were doing this. So everywhere I looked, they were pushing my attention around, and then someone literally just shouldered me hard at the gym. And man, it was hard, but I never reacted. So that's how they're trying to make you commit a crime. Actually, I got a couple of complaints at work because they're gonna try to ask you the stupidest question. And this is gonna happen. This is a way to finish your patience until you explode. So I will tell you that they got to me at a certain point because a customer asked me a bunch of stupid questions, and I did a smart ass response, and he yelled. He was really upset. And at this point, I was really within the gangstalking hypnosis, call it, where I believed that everyone was a gangstalker, and but it was the stupidest question, and actually I can tell you, I remember now. So he wanted to buy, there were two things of oil, right? There was one where there was oil for diesel cars, and someone had put the two jugs, like the big 2-gallon containers of diesel oil on the wrong spot. And then it was 2 gallons for $30. And he saw, is this oil $30 at this price? And I was just like, with the price of oil right now, do you really think that you can get 2 gallons of oil for that price? And then I walked away. But isolating this instance, I did look like a smartass, and I'm gonna agree. I should not respond to that. But this is the thing. Everyone only sees your current behavior, but no one sees what happened behind it. No one sees what led up to that reaction. So I was produced to react that way. I was getting gang stalked at the shelter, on the streets, on the freeway. When I was chilling in my car, during my lunch hour, I had people go on the corner of my car and sway my car. I was literally being harassed every single minute of every day, all day, for months. Literally. That is how they try to finish your patience. They keep pushing and pushing and pushing until you explode. And then the possibility of you punching someone, you have no idea how close I was to fucking sock someone on the face. And I took judo, I took 5 animal kung fu, I have always lifted weights, and I'm strong as hell, And believe me, I can throw a punch like you wouldn't believe. And it was one of the hardest things, That was the toughest, when I was literally being harassed 24/7. There was a moment where I was in my car, and then I had a group of fucking high school kids pushing my car, and they were saying, "Oh, wow, oh," things like they were whispering things like that around my car. And then when I would open the door, I would see them scurry away like a fucking cockroach, like a fucking rat. I saw them run away. I saw this with my own eyes. They would literally sway my car. I would go into the gym. I would be working out, and the whole time they were trying to interrupt. The only time I had by myself was in the shower. And I had no privacy. And this it finishes your patience. And there was a point where you feel like you're gonna blow up. There was a point where I was just like yelling out of my car like a crazy person, and I was at the gym, and I was like, oh man, I was like mocking them, but I was mocking them for like a whole day, where I was like, oh man, and I was just insulting everyone lightly under my breath. And I had no idea that everyone was paying attention to me, because everyone was paying attention to me. And even one of the staff of the gym came up to me and told me that I had to stop. And I did, but I stopped because I had expressed everything. But I was like, oh my God, but I was just doing that. But I was saying that under my breath so that I wouldn't get in trouble. And that actually worked. I was able to get all of that out. And there was a time where they would literally keep doing that, and I was trying to work out, and they didn't let me. They just kept doing the sign, I was being harassed 24/7, and I was getting so mad. I began stomping the fucking floor like a fucking bull. And I was looking at it. There was a trainer, working on it. She was like, like if, and there was someone recording that. I was being framed, as if I did something. They were ready to record that. That was the moment. But, I just came to my senses, and then I was like, their hard work is about to pay off. Their surveillance is about to pay off, because I was about to fucking go out and yell. And I didn't. I just sat down and centered myself. So, let's say if I would have just yelled, gone like, ah, and then just stormed off, thrown weights around, whatever, that would mean that their work, that was the payoff. So everything that they were doing to me 24/7 was a way of producing me to behave like an insane person. I was being produced to commit a crime, to do something stupid. That is what I mean when you're producing someone to behave a certain way. I was being produced by gangstalkers to commit a crime. That was a setup. So, but the thing is that people would only see the crime, but they would have no idea of what happened before that. They would only be like, dude, that guy just punched that guy for no reason. And imagine if following that narrative, I would have done something. I would have, imagine if I would have ended up in a police station for punching someone. And if I would say, I was being harassed by all these people. I have been harassed by months. They've been doing this. They've been mocking me, whatever. That's why gang stalking is how it is. Everything is indirect, so you have no evidence. And when you misbehave and you commit the crime, you have a crazy story that no one is going to believe. And if you're using drugs, that's all they need. Oh, this guy is a drug addict. That's it. It's that easy. Who's going to believe me that I was being harassed by months, 4 months? No one. Especially when you try to describe the ways that they're harassing you. So that is social sabotage. And that's exactly how it goes. Also, okay. Let's see, what else is next? Okay, so in the gangstalking protocol, the attempt to frame the TI is employed through the perps following the TI around, presumably through GPS, if the TI is implanted with a chip, or through maintaining a continuous visual by pedestrian and driver perps as well as residents. Should we call gangstalkers perps? Let's do that. I think that would be easier to pronounce than gangstalkers. So let's call them perps. As well as residents being given notification via text message or alerts on their cell phones that the TIs is approaching, and they should begin noise campaign to harass the TI when he is in range. They often deliberately involve children and women with baby strollers and babies to have them intercept the TI while the latter is walking along the route at a certain pace. See intercepts below. He can then be photographed adjacent to the women and children and these photos shown around the community members by police or other authorities to convince the gullible cattle, goyim, cattle in Yiddish. What is Yiddish? To go along with the campaign and attempt to escalate the harassment of the TI. Once adequate evidence is gleaned of the TI in the context of women and children, he may eventually have trumped up charges brought against himself to involve him in legal trouble, charged with pedophilia and put on a watch list. Should he be jailed, he may be executed by prisoners there or even by vigilantes in his community. This will also prevent him from gaining employment owing to the notoriety of his constructed identity by the cabal. Once the TI's reputation is irreparably damaged through smear campaigns and rumor mongering, he can then be further subject to punishment by the cabal and its agents. If he complains, no one will ascribe value of truth to his claims. That's kind of extreme. It is possible. I have never experienced that. If you have any experience with that, please come forward and write it on the comments. This channel is to have as much evidence by people about this. Make a video and tag me on it and put a link on the comments. I want to hear your story. So on this channel, we're looking at everything with an eye of skepticism. And we're going to try to keep our feet grounded as possible. I honestly don't think that they would do something like that. So what they can do is to make you believe that they're taking pictures. But if you're not doing anything, how can someone blame you for being a pedophile by being next to a child and doing nothing? Or maybe on a stroller? That in itself sounds stupid. Wouldn't you agree? That sounds incredibly stupid. You're walking on the street and there's someone with a stroller and you're just walking around and they take a picture of you next to a child. The only evidence they can gather from that is you walking next to a child. If you're not doing anything, you have absolutely nothing to be afraid of. So don't keep this narrative in mind. If you're walking next to a stroller, and a gang stalker pretends to be snapping a picture or just laughs or whatever, they're trying to make you believe that they're setting you up, but they're not. If you have an experience like that, if you had someone take a picture of that, and you feel like you were framed as a pedophile, I want to hear deeper details about it. Like how I told you how they tried to frame me as a pedophile. But don't just say something like this book, where they say something such as they can do this and this and that with any type of evidence and details. But if you're not doing anything wrong, you have nothing to be afraid of. If you're using drugs, if you are taking care of yourself, if you are taking care of others, and you're engaging in things that are not illegal, well, other from the drug use, then you have nothing to be scared of. If you're not engaging in anything that has to do with pedophile, you cannot be set up. You can only be set up if you fall for the trap and you say something or you do something that will make you seem like it. especially on the hookup apps. If you're not doing anything wrong, you have nothing to be scared of. This video ends right here. On the next one, we're going to talk about what's next on there. All right? Bye. Thank you.